Welcome to the Soul Tribe Podcast. The Soul Tribe Podcast was created to help you navigate through the world of spirituality, wellness, and self-development in an easy, grounded, and relatable way. We break down everything from the Akashic Records, manifesting, spirituality, and so much more. We want to help expand your boundaries and bring the spiritual world to you in a fun and easy way. Get ready to be inspired with tips, tools, and easy to digest information. Let's do this.
Hey Soul Tribe, welcome back to another episode now with Lorena and Lucia.
Woohoo!
Lucia and Lorena. Yeah, because we did, the last one was my solo, and then
previous to that was my solo, so.
Yeah, so we're back together again.
Yeah.
We've actually been doing that because we've been working really hard backstage to finish our level 2 Akashic Records course. And so it's been hard for us to get all that work done and both of us get on a call at the same time on top of our, different time zones. So we thought it would be really cool today to do an episode and kind of talk about the difference between the class we use to teach is Akashic Records Level 1 and the class that we're just about to jump in full-blown to teach more students, which we've already taught one student, which we'll get into, which is Akashic Records Level 2. So that might sound confusing to someone who's just started listening to the podcast not too long ago or, hasn't followed us for a while. Like, what is that Level 1 and Level 2? So we thought it'd be really cool to talk about that. And it's an excuse to talk about the Akashic Records, really, isn't it?
Of course, because that's what we love talking about.
Exactly.
So maybe we can start with level 1. And I know many of you probably have heard of the Akashic Records, but you might have never heard the levels, right? The levels is something that we were taught, and I think that we still continue to download and understand it in levels. So there's level 1, level 2, and level 3. Today we're going to focus on level 1 and 2 because those are the ones we teach and the ones that most people kind of reach out to us about and ask questions about and what we focus most of the podcast on anyway. So maybe Lou, you can intro us into just stating a little bit of the differences between the two, and then I can just chime in whenever.
Yeah. Akashic Records Level 1 basically means you're learning to open up and read your own Akashic Records. So it's basically giving you the tools, the knowledge, and the information to create a connection for yourself, make your body create it into a channel, right? So you can just become a portal for your own sacred information. That's freaking amazing. No more needing to go to other people to get your information. You can get your own information on your own. So that's what level 1 is all about. But with that said, I know a lot of people that have done level 1 and level 2 and are readers, and they still like to be read. It's still nice to get someone that's outside of your perspective to tell you the things, because when you get it for yourself, it's amazing. But when someone else repeats the same thing to you after, you go, man, I really need to listen.
It's just confirming what you already know, right? And I think that's what we said a few times on the podcast. It's like when you get a reading from somebody else, or it doesn't have to be Akashic Records, it could be psychic, it could be something else, right?
Yeah.
You're only confirming things you already know deep down inside that you might not want to confront, or you just don't believe or don't trust. But I think what you said is so important. Level 1 to me is the foundation of everything. And it's helped me tune in more to my intuition and to my inner knowing, regardless of if I have them open or not. It's tuned me into this voice inside of myself and this inner knowing and this feeling. Because for me, you guys always hear me say, I feel, right? To this feeling of knowing what's right and wrong. That doesn't mean that I'm perfect. It doesn't mean that I have it all figured out. It doesn't mean that I'm going to make all my decisions from that. I still struggle with that. I still get readings from other people. But in general, I am leaning more towards that direction. And I know that I have the Akashic Records to support me through anything I'm going through. Because we've been doing this for so many years, especially level 1 for me, that it's just something I lean on constantly if I need help or assistance. And we've both gotten to a point now that we don't even need to use a verse to open them. We know that they're open. We can tune into that energy and just put that intention to have them open, and they open. It's amazing. It's so easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I first started. I mean, I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I did level 2 times with 2 different teachers. And that was a big thing for me because the first time I did it, it was like I felt like things were missing. Like I felt like there was information for me that I was like, well, there's something else. I don't know. I felt like something else had to be explained to me. So, and there were some belief systems that the teacher had that she brought into the classes that it didn't vibrate with me. I didn't agree with it. It felt really iffy. And the really big example of that, this is one of the examples I can give you because there was more than one. But I had gotten a reading from someone that I consider to be a very good reader in Uruguay. I mean, I remember going to her and thinking, wow, she's like this, she's amazing. And so you could tell she was very connected to the information. I didn't question that at any point. And there were moments that I was going through things, especially with relationships from my past, I was going through things that I was carrying. And she gave me information that had to do with a past life that made it just click for me. And I went, that makes sense. Wow, that makes sense. And now I'm able to I was able to let go of it. Like something I had been carrying, it had making me cry for months. I literally in that reading, I let go of it. It was like that aha moment, right? And I was able to let go and go, oh, okay, you know what? Doesn't mean that what the person did doesn't hurt anymore, or that, it didn't matter that I felt betrayed, or, it was just that I understood somehow. It made sense, and it allowed me to move on and let go. And so when I then learned to read my own Akashic records with another teacher, because this teacher, I think she didn't have any, I was like, sign me up for your next class. And then I think that ended up happening that she just wasn't teaching level 1 yet, or she was too busy. I don't remember exactly. This was so many years ago. But so I ended up finding another teacher. And I did that. The biggest reason was because I wanted to let go of my dream premonitions. Learning to read the Akashic records was my main goal, so that I didn't have to keep having my dream premonitions of aviation accidents, which I've spoken about before. So the first class I could get my hands on, I did, which was a totally different teacher than the one that had read me originally. And when we came into the class, she was teaching, because she was originally a physics teacher.
Oh, I remember this lady.
For students. Yeah. So she was very strict and everything was very cubical, right? Everything was very calculated, and of course, you know me, that doesn't go with me. Don't put me in a cube, man. Take me out of the box. Like that's not me. So already that wasn't really vibrating very well with me. But then when she said, she was telling her new students, like, you cannot get information from past lives. That doesn't exist. I was like, what do you mean that doesn't exist? And so she had this whole physics reason behind you were everything and everybody was everyone. So if you're hearing about a past life, it probably wasn't even your soul. It was somebody else's soul that somehow at some point passed a path with you, and you picked up that residual energy, and your soul decided to take it as its own past life.
Oh, wow.
So she basically wanted me to knock down the wall that had, that she was going to shatter the wall that I managed to knock down myself, like with the past thing that I released. I couldn't have that.
Yeah.
And because the lady who had read me, she didn't know. I gave her some, like, okay, this is what happens. I have this issue with this person. I gave her the name, but I didn't give too many details, because I remember that, because I didn't know if I was supposed to give a lot of details or not because I was like testing her, but because I just didn't know. So I was like, I want to ask about this person. I was also nervous. I want to ask about this person, and I kind of gave her like basically nothing. And everything she talked about the past life really had to do and was explaining exactly what I was going through with that person. Mm-hmm. So it to me, it couldn't be true what the physics teacher was saying. It couldn't be true. But I still took the information that she gave me, and I said, well, I'm gonna put it in that box over there of things I don't really feel like believing right now. And if one day I want to take it out, I will. I never took it out of that box. It's still in that box, of course, because I still believe very heavily in past lives.
Yeah, and it's something you've channeled and connected with, and has helped you heal. And we know that our soul is eternal, so...
Yeah. Well, it's not that she doesn't believe in past lives. She believes that we shouldn't talk about past lives because we're all so mixed up. We're all coming from one, that at the end of the day, that's actually not your experience. It's everybody's experience. And I like to personalize it. I'm sorry. Like, I think personalizing it helps you release things.
And I think this is an interesting topic, actually, now that we're on this, because no, especially when we get into level 2, and we're going to talk a little bit about level 2 in a second. You know, everybody, our course will have specific information. We prepare you in the best way that we can. Our masters, our guides helped us with this manual. But ultimately, you're going to have your own belief systems. And if you don't believe in past lives, you might not connect with that information, even if people are asking you about it.
Yeah.
So you need to honor whatever's
in the manual.
Yeah, you need to honor what's true for you and the kind of reader you are. And sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone, like knock down those walls and like start reading and investigating and finding new truths, because it might be your ego holding you back, right? But then that's also the whole reason why you gravitate towards certain readers. So you're probably likely never going to go get a reading from the physics teacher, because her energy and her kind of...
I did get a reading from her, because we don't have that rule, but they have the rule where you have to get a reading from them to be able to learn after.
Oh, is that...
So I had already had a reading with someone else, but she's like, no, you have to have the reading with me. So I was like, wow. All these freaking rules. Like, I was like, get me out of the goddamn box. So many rules. Like, I have to have a reading with you. Like I already had one like a month ago.
My level 2 was online, so it was a bit different. And I ended up it was one-on-one class with this teacher. So we practiced on each other. So it was...
Yeah. I was with that teacher
so
too.
nervous. I was so nervous. Like, it was the worst. Like, it was really bad. But, yeah, she I don't know, but you wouldn't gravitate towards getting a reading from her now. You know what I mean?
No, definitely not.
That's what I mean. No, because you're in a completely different space now. And that's why you have to honor also who you.
But there might be a lot of people that her way of seeing life and the way how the souls function, that might suit other people. Like you were saying,
of course, yeah.
People will gravitate towards her that have that same similar belief system. Yeah.
And that's why we're all different. We shouldn't try to be like somebody else. And as a level 2 reader, you're going to do what feels right for you. And, you know, as long as we're honoring and respecting the Akashic Records, you can do this, right? If you feel that calling to go to level 2. So I think...
So then I repeated level 1. Yeah. Because I said, well, I need to find someone that really vibrates with my belief system. I feel like this didn't... It taught me to read. I was able to read my own Akashic Records. Like, I did that in the class. I opened up my own Akashic Records and I did that. But I felt like I wanted to be in a better place with what the person was teaching. So I repeated it with the teacher that you did level 2 with, whom I did level 2 with as well.
Yeah.
So she vibrated with me much more. I said, okay, I'm going to do level 2 with her, like, when I do it. So I liked that class much more. I liked her manual much more. Again, I would have wished that I had the manual that we had created for level 1.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But okay, it was better than the one before that. And it's very her, right? Like, that's why we like our manual.
It's very deep. It's very spiritual. It's very much about the healing, which I think we learned so much about. Yeah. And I focus a lot on. I mean, I think she's a great teacher. And she also channeled her own amazing manual. It's just, it doesn't vibe with how we work today. And you wouldn't share somebody else's manual. If you become a teacher, you create your own manual, you create your own verse, that's level 3 now we're talking about, right?
Yeah, it's level 3.
But level 1 sets you up for, it's the foundation for you to move on to the next levels. If you don't have that really solidified, and if you haven't connected and you haven't figured out what kind of channel you are, and you're not, if you're not receiving information, you just kind of throw it to the side. You could be successful with level 2, but you have to have that calling. Like, it has to be.
You really have to create a relationship with your own Akashic Records before you're tapping into other people's. I think that's a really important thing.
It's so important.
I think it's important. Doesn't mean it's the only way to do it, but I think that it sets you up for a more successful level 2.
Yeah, and for you to be that really thoughtful, connected person that you need to be in order to assist others. Because it's not, even though it's about other people, you're still healing yourself. And we talk about that in the manual, which I think is amazing. It doesn't end, just because you're in level 2 doesn't mean you're not healing yourself. You still are. You're still looking at stuff. Things will come up. And
it's funny because you'll see other people, like you'll hear other people's sacred information. You'll see how other people see the world, and you'll be like, wow, not everybody sees it the way I do. It makes you see a lot of things.
Of course.
Not everybody feels the way I do. Not everybody understands the way I do. But also, it makes you realize your own weaknesses and your own strengths.
Totally. And in this case, like the last few weeks, I think it was last week, I had like 2 or 3 readings that really, it was like solidifying something I was already feeling. And it's like these people came to me for, in a very vulnerable way, speaking these amazing things and things that had happened to them and struggles they were going through. And I was like, wow, I don't feel alone. Like I'm not the only person going through this. And then I open up with them because that's, that's how I felt. I was like, I'm going through something similar. This really, I appreciate you being so vulnerable and open. Of course, it's not easy. And I'm getting goosebumps just saying that. It's like, wow, it made me feel not so alone. I think it made them feel not so alone, me telling them that after the reading, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. But yeah, I agree with you. It's not mandatory, but I agree with you on the sense that it is important for you to create that relationship with your masters, your guides, the Akashic realm, your soul, for you to feel and know that you have that trust to move into level 2 and to be there for other people and yourself. Because it's not just about being there for others. It is about being there for yourself, because you have to, there's a lot that goes into becoming a level 2 reader. It's amazing.
You have to learn how you function. You have to learn what's going to make you comfortable. You have to learn what's going to make your channel function better. You have to learn, you figure yourself out more.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially spiritually, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Okay. So before I jump into level 2, so we're talking about level 1, reading your own Akashic Records. Before I jump into level 2, I'll say that we're only teaching people level 2 that have done level 1 with us. And the reason for that is because, as we said before, every teacher's manual is so different that we don't want to have to go back and re-explain things from level 1 to individuals that might not understand a specific topic or a specific theme we're talking about that had been covered in level 1. We don't want to have to, waste all the other students' time of us repeating that. And also because level 2 is really long.
Yes.
The manual is 90 pages, right? I think
around
it's 90 pages.
Yeah.
It's between 80 and 90 pages of manual. So, if we were to have to cover things from level 1, it'd be like, wow, that would be a lot.
It's too, we don't have time for that. And people should already have all that that should be part of who you are now. Yeah.
So we require that individuals that are signing up for level 2 have level 1 because of those reasons, and because it's gonna be more successful for the student. And at the end of the day, we want you to come in and be successful, and that's why our manual is so extensive. It's giving you all the information and talks about everything that we consider you need to know, and our masters consider that you need to know, so you can literally ride that bike, right?
Yeah.
Go out and ride that bike.
So wait, before we get into level 2, let's maybe announce that we are, level 2, we have come out with dates. So by the time this episode comes out on the podcast platform and YouTube, we have already announced this not only to our patrons. Our patrons were the first one to find out, so they get first dibs on spots. There's only 10 spots for our August dates. And then we sent everybody who signed up on the form for level 2, and then also our newsletter people. So if you're not on our newsletter, you better sign up, because this is where we're going to be communicating most of our stuff first. So any courses or dates that come up, people that are in our newsletter and Patreon will find out first and get first spots. So the idea here is that we've announced it. So we're ready.
Da, 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 da.
We're ready for level 2 to teach, and we're prepared. We feel so...
We've done our first run of the manual and explaining it to... we took in one student that we considered as prepared for us to try it on him. And the idea was to make sure that everything was up to standards, and that the information was fully understood, and that the layout of the manual and the layout of the class was as impeccable as we could make it, right?
Yeah, it's taken time, guys. We know you guys have been emailing us and messaging us.
We've been for a year now. Be like, next year.
It happened when it had to happen, but I think that we weren't going to do it unless it was perfect. And that was just the mentality we had. We were like, it doesn't matter if it takes us 2 years. We're not going to do it and like half-ass it, right? We're going to do it right. So the dates that we've confirmed for August are Saturday. So it's a 3-day course. So there'll be 2 days of theory and 1 day of practice, kind of similar to the level 1, but just in a different layout. So days 1 and 2 will be Saturday, August 28th. That's day 1. And then day 2 is Sunday, August 29th. And then the third day of the class will be the following week. So that's Sunday, September 5th. And day 1 is about 4 hours. Day 2 is about 3 hours. Like we say, this could vary depending on if there's tons of questions that people ask and if something comes up during the class.
Yep.
And then day 3 is 2 hours. So day 1 and 2 is theory, basically going through all of the manual, which is, like Lucia said, very extensive and very complete in many ways, and we'll go into that in a second. And then day 3 is practice and questions and answers. So you'll have basically a week to look through the manual, to study, to have put together any questions or any doubts that you have. And then on that Sunday, we'll start with a Q&A, and then we'll go right into basically breaking. It has to be an even number, of course. So we're going to break up students into groups of 2 in breakout rooms, and then you're going to kind of take turns reading for each other. So the idea
and this is exactly what you and I did as students.
Yeah.
But just in person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I did it online. Like I was saying, I did a reading for my teacher, and then she basically did one for me to show me, and then I did one for her, which was nerve-wracking. We wouldn't expect you guys unless we have an uneven number of students.
I was in the level 2 class, and we were sitting there, and we were about to go into rooms to read each other, the students, and she started counting. She's like, "Oh, someone's had to do me," and I sat in the chair and I said, "Motherfuckers, I'm gonna get her." And exactly, I got her twice.
That's probably good. It's probably good.
Yeah, but like when you're about to read someone, I mean, this is the one of the first ladies that brought the Akashic Records to Uruguay. She had already been doing it for like a decade. She's like the name of Akashic Records in Uruguay. In South America, or Uruguay, yeah. And so I was like, I have to read her. I'm going to totally embarrass myself. It actually went really well.
Yeah. So the idea is you guys are going to need to practice. So we want to be able to support you through that, kind of like we did when we all channeled together in level 1, because when we were on our Zoom call, we all channel and answer questions by writing them down, and then we share them. So the idea here is that you're going to be able to do that with classmates. So it'll be short. It won't be too long. It'll be about 15 minutes of channeling. The idea is not to do your rituals or anything like that. We'll already kind of be in that energy of the Akashic Records, but it's just to go with the flow. Lucy and I could probably go into some of these rooms. You guys can come back, and then we can see how things are going, where you guys got stuck, be able to talk through them. And then after that, you guys have your homework, as always, right? It's getting your hands in the dough and
ride that bike
and riding that bike and getting on your path and starting your practice. And we'll have all that specified in the manual. But yeah, the idea here is that we're starting with these dates. This is the first group, so it's going to be a pretty amazing group, I'm sure, because we already have some people signed up. But
I'm so excited to teach this.
I am too. Way more than level 1 for some weird reason. I think.
Yeah, me too. I think it's because you're giving someone a tool that's going to help other people. It feels even more impactful.
Yeah, totally. And we know that this
you can
is
see
a
the
reason.
Expansiveness that's going to happen in Gaia because of that. Like, I think it's that
100%. So the idea here is that we're, depending on the amount of feedback we get for August, we're going to add another date in September, but this all depends. So if you guys are interested, make sure you're writing in, because until we get August filled in, we're not putting up the September dates.
Or maybe someone's interested but can't do August and can do September.
Yeah, let's say
valid.
you can't do the August dates that we've published, and you definitely want to do it, but you want to do in September. Reach out to us at soultribeacademy@gmail.com. We'll put all that in the show notes. Reach out and let us know. if it's September is like better for you.
Yeah. Let's explain what level 2 is then.
Yes. Now let's do level 2.
Because we've been talking about it, but yeah, hello. Okay, so level 2 is you're learning to become a channel to tap into the Akashic records of someone else that's not you. So that means that you're going to read the Akashic records of someone else. Like if you were to book a reading with me or Lorena, which a lot, some of you might have done that. A lot of you will know that we're reading your Akashic records. So that's what level 2 is. Level 2 is you being able to do that for other people just like we do for other people. That's the difference. We consider this to be a really big step, jumping from level 1 to level 2, but also we consider it many times. I think you'd think it's a big deal, but it's like an easy transition if you like you were saying in the beginning, if you really kind of really did level 1 and you really tapped into your Akashic records and created that bond with your own Akashic records and your own spiritual team, but also worked out that reading muscle, level 2 is going to be a transition. Of course, you're still going to have to go through the phases of understanding things and how you receive things and how you function as a channel. That's going to still happen for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's still a pretty easy transition. Which we talk about that for a long time. We talk about it in the manual. We talk about it in the class. All those things, our experiences, what we see, what we've seen, what happens, what doesn't happen, all those things, right?
Yeah, it definitely feels sometimes easier to open somebody else's because you're not invested, especially if you don't know the person. You're not emotionally invested with the person. You don't know anything about them, and it's better if you don't know anything about the person. And when I did my practice for level 2. Obviously our teacher had us do like 30 free readings. I did my very best to choose people. I made sure I did 30 readings. I did like more than 30 free ones, but I made sure that I had at least 30 of people I had no idea about, like people online, people that just wanted a free reading. And then I did ones for family members and friends and stuff like that. But it definitely helped not knowing them and for me to trust because I got their feedback and I didn't have anything to go on with them. So I think that helped a lot.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. So level 2 is a lot of theory because like we said, the manual is really long. That's why also it took us a long time because we were channeling the whole thing from scratch. So this is our own manual that we created with our Akashic records, with our spiritual teams. And we added the knowledge of the things that we've gone through during the years and the experiences we've had. And so we've added our own human experiences on top of what the masters decided that they wanted to bring into the manual as well. So that took quite some time because it's really long. But I'm very happy with it. I actually never could have imagined. I mean, I'm like, you know how I'm like really good at patting myself on the back? Like I really never thought it was going to be this good.
It is really good. Yeah, it's
really good.
And like Lucy was saying at the beginning, we picked a friend from Uruguay who has done level 1 with us several times. And basically he was our guinea pig. And we wanted to make sure that when we were saying those things and if the order of the stuff was right and how we were going to convey things. So we did a lot of practicing with that. So it's also another thing that kind of held us back from being able to be like, we're ready. So apart from all of the obviously spiritual, technical, and all of the stuff that we need to know in order to become a level 2 Akashic Record reader, we've also included some business stuff in there too. Like, for example, platforms and payments and, websites and things like that to think about. We don't go too deep into it because that's not what we're about and that's not what we're here to teach.
That's a little boring.
Yeah, and that's something we both figured out on our own and we're still figuring out. You can do a marketing class for that or get a coach for that, of course. That's not our forte. But we wanted to include some of that because we have experience with it and I think it could help. It could help somebody. So we definitely
also just that. Like the way we channel, we both pick totally different tools to use as well.
Yeah, completely. Like we just recorded a video on how we intro into our Akashic record readings, and you can just tell the energy behind.
Nothing.
We're
we do
so
similar.
different, and it's great. It's great because it goes to show that you don't have to be the same or be a certain way to be a reader, or for other people, for yourself.
I think that's cool. I wish I would have had two teachers that taught at the same time. I'd be like, oh, she does it this way, but she does it totally different way. Like, oh, then I can be myself. I don't have to do it the way she does it.
Yeah, you're right about that. I never thought about it. And I think the fact that we're so different, and we didn't plan this. We've been like this our whole lives outside of spirituality. Like, Lucia's like, I'm just going to do this. And I'm like, well, let's think about it for another year
and let's make
a
list and let's plan it for the next 20 years.
So it's cool to see how that spiritually also kind of plays into how we do readings and how our readings are. Like even spiritually speaking, we tap into different information and focus on different things without forcing it. It just comes out that way. And the more you can not resist, like the more you try to resist it, the more you're not going to be authentic to who you are and what you're doing and your purpose. So, so basically we're ready. We are ready to teach level 2 and to prepare people to start helping others heal. And we're really excited. Like we're ecstatic. And we know this is going to be so life-changing for so many of you. And, you know, like I always say, or I have said in other podcast episodes, the Akashic Records has changed my life, like in so many ways, from my self-love journey to my purpose. I feel so purposeful being an Akashic Records reader, and I want other people to be able to feel that way too. So hopefully anybody that's having that calling of becoming a reader for others, you know, follows their calling, you know, takes action. Definitely. We'll have all the information about the course below, but make sure you're following us on social media, and you obviously connected to us via our newsletter. All the links will be below. But we're so excited. Like, I can't get a smile off my face. I'm just like, this is a big step for us. And I don't know if we were ready.
I don't think I would have. Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted. I mean, I wouldn't have felt like this a year ago. I feel like I'm very ready to teach this now. Like last year, I would have been like, I don't know, but this year, I'm like, it's time. It's time.
Definitely, yeah. And I think we're just going more into our purpose. Like even I'm thinking about like our podcast assistants, right? Of us helping other people start their podcast. This is the same thing. It's like we're helping other people heal other people, and we're helping people get more into their purpose, you know. It started with level 1. Speak up and just do what you're here to do, right? It feels amazing. So maybe you can kind of intro in the conversation we had with Julio, because I think that would be great.
So we thought it would be really cool, since we had our guinea pig Julio, who did our level 2 class that we tried out the manual on and that we were talking about all that. We thought it'd be really cool if we had a conversation with him that we were able to put on the podcast to get you guys to hear his experience. He's already started readings after the class. So we asked him about that. We asked him about how, you know, how he felt the class, and we get into that. It's a very non-formal conversation because, of course, Julio's one of my best friends since, forever. We also talk about that. But the idea is kind of someone who's maybe on the fence about doing level 2, or maybe he's insecure about doing it. I don't know. Hear his experience and how he feels about it. And I know that his personal path has been kind of like a lot of us, which is you have your 3D life where you have to like have a job and you have to pay the bills. But then at the same time, you know that your soul has this thing that it's really good at, has a calling. And he's been into the spiritual world since I known him. Like he's always been in the spiritual world. A big part of why I was able to jump into the Akashic Records and do all these things was because I had him in my life, as well as mom. It was basically him and mom were the reason why I was able to like jump in 2 feet and go, I'm going to do this. And so that's why we also chose him to teach level 2, because we knew that if there was anything that needed to be fixed in the manual, he was still going to get it. And he was to tell us, hey, I don't know if that's going to be very clear. So we also really respected his feedback, whatever feedback he had for us when we finished teaching him or while we were teaching him. So you guys are going to be hearing now an audio That's the three of us talking, Lorena, me, and Julio, and talking, all about the level 2 that he taught and his new experience with reading other people. Okay, so we're here with Julio. And to briefly explain, we picked Julio to teach him level 2 of our manual we had just finished, and we had finished the creation of the whole structure of how we wanted to teach the course. Julio, you were my first student in level 1, on top of being my best friend.
Yeah, of course.
You were my first student in level 1. And then after I did level 1 on your parents, do you remember that?
Yeah, we were like your guinea pigs.
Yeah, you still are. That's why we decided to do level 2 with you.
And I'm honored to be one.
Yeah, and it was exciting. And you've been, since I had taught you, I don't know, how long ago was that?
It was on June 2019.
You have like the date written down. No, you had a class before that. That was the second. You did level 1 like 2 times or something.
Yeah, the first time was on June 19, 2019, and the second time was last year.
Yeah, because you were in one of our classes, our Zoom classes, right?
Yeah.
So that was cool having you on there.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, and then so the Zoom class was your second class.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we picked Julio because he was my first student, on top of being very comfortable, because we're really good friends, being really comfortable that if there were any errors in the manual that we would pick up on, like a grammar or something that needed to change positions, it was okay to do that with you. So that's why we used you as our guinea pig. But also we wanted to see how the information stuck with the student, to see how you could progress after, to make sure that our program actually functions properly the way we really believe it does. So I would like for you to kind of tell me how's it been for you? How many readings have you done now? So you're doing your third today?
Yeah, I'm doing my third reading today, but I'm fully booked until the 17th of August.
Busy.
Wow.
Yeah, I already have one reading per day.
Yeah.
And it's been one hell of a ride. It's amazing how much it's like you told before on previous episodes on your podcast, that the channel changes and that you learn through each reading. You learn about yourself. On the 3 readings that I have the 4th reading now. I've learned quite a few things about myself that I wasn't ready to. I felt that I wasn't ready to, but they were like repeating on each of the readings the same topics.
Wow.
So that got me thinking, oh, okay, that's one for me too.
Yeah, because that's something we talk about.
Yeah,
you reflect out back to you
Definitely.
things that you might need to see. Yeah.
And it's amazing how after the reading you start forgetting about everything.
Yeah. You forget like a lot.
The only things that I still have, that I still recall, are the things that I can relate to.
Yes,
exactly.
That I need to work on myself.
Yeah. Or things you're like, whoa, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So what did you like, because we went through, basically kind of ran through everything as we would with our course that we just published, right? On social media, we sent out newsletters, and we actually put out a date for level 2. You got like a sneak peek into it, of course.
Yeah.
But what did you think about the layout of the information? Do you feel like it helped you really understand what it was to be a level 2 reader? Like, what were things that kind of stood out for you, maybe?
Well, basically, I think that everything on the course is amazing.
Thanks.
You really, you deal with any kind of questions, any kind of things that any of the students can come up with that they want to know. You have it on the manual, you have it on the course, and the way that you taught it, it's not more like teachers, students, more like friends, discussing what it means to be a reader, and in more not only a healer way, a reader way only, but like on a human way.
Yeah.
What it means for us as humans to have this honor, honestly, to be able to do this, to have this tool.
Yeah, it's an honor. It's like a responsibility too. Like we talk a lot about that in the course. And really go deep into that. But do you feel like it gave you the tools? Because obviously you're on your 4th reading today, right?
Yeah.
So do you think and feel like it gave you all the tools you needed to feel prepared to become a level 2 reader?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
I mean, I didn't leave with any questions. I didn't leave with any questions unanswered or any doubts that I may have, because everything is so clear and it's so well put that it's sinking to me. I mean, I got it.
Yeah.
I felt ready the moment we finished.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, that's so
amazing.
awesome. That's what we want. That's what we're looking to try to accomplish.
Yeah. And the thing also is, like with the course, we're also talking about how we're going to be supporting all of you anyway. So you're in the Facebook group, you can email us. Like the idea is that we're here. Like we can support you if you have a question. And I mean, I still to this day, feel like it's so important to have that support, even if it's a community, because
we didn't have that. I don't know if you had that, but I didn't have that.
Not really. No, not in the way that I think we've created it. And I felt like it was like I was on my own. Well, I had you.
Yeah, I feel like I was on my own as well. It was like I finished the course. First of all, I wish I would have had the manual that we created.
Yeah, of course. Me too. Yeah, me too. 100%.
Like, I feel like the manual that I was given, it was just so basic. I mean, I'm not saying it didn't have good information. It did have good information, but it was so basic to the point of like getting you prepared to do this as it's almost like a therapist in a way. It's almost, there was no part of the manual that helped you understand that or like leave knowing that. And so by experience, I learned to manage those things. But when I had a question, like I couldn't talk to the teacher again. She would literally say, ask your masters, ask your guides. Yeah. Open your own Akashic Records and ask. And she would never like assist me. And I was like, well, I was looking for her experience and knowledge and her years of experience. That's why I was asking her. And so all that stuff that we think that might come up at some point, we put it in the manual, and whatever doesn't, might come up that's not in the manual, the person can reach out to us. I wish I had had that.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really important to have that. And I know that in spite of having everything covered on your manual and on the course, I know that you're there.
Yeah.
We are.
Whenever I had any questions, I know you're there.
Yeah.
In spite of the time difference, of course.
But also you can't get rid of me because you've been stuck with me since we were like 20 something. So
I don't want to get rid of you. Come on. You won't be that lucky.
How old were we when we met? Do you remember?
I think we were like 27, 26, something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I think it was 26.
So young.
Yeah, it was in 2009.
Wow.
The first time we had a job together, and that's when we met. Yeah.
So funny.
It feels like longer, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
It feels like we've been knowing each other since like, I don't know, 1990 or something. Like.
Yeah, definitely.
The cool thing is also, the cool thing is that Julio, you're already into a lot of spiritual stuff. You do Reiki.
Yeah.
And you're into like witchcraft and stuff and spells and all that, which I think is really cool and something that I'm sure you'll integrate into your readings. And that's something like we talk about all the time, right? Make it your own. Like there's certain rules, of course, we all need to make sure that we're, following, because we need to honor the Akashic Records and we need to honor a lot of things and make sure that the person that's getting the reading from us feels safe and everything. But we also have to make it our own. Like for me, that's been the flowers, right? The flower essences. And for everybody, it's going to be different. It can just be the Akashic Records, but I always like to encourage people to make it their own too.
Yeah, definitely.
Figure their own way.
I believe it's like the records, they help, and they are basically the main tool here as a reader. But since the master know that you have other skills, that you know other stuff, they encourage you to use them.
Of course.
That happened to me on the reading that I had yesterday. One of my advices was something that had to do with Wicca, to deal with an issue. And okay, the masters encouraged me to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. They use the information in your brain to your advantage, or to the reading, or to the other person's, actually the other person's disadvantage, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I'm so proud of you. Like it's
I'm actually surprised that he's feeling, because Julio, you've been seeing, like, your story is when you were a young boy, you were seeing a dark figure shadow in your room, and you see, what would you call them? Those that passed over?
Yeah, I see spirits, I see entities, and hear them. Yeah. And I feel their presence also. But now, since level 2, I've been, the masters still show me images and they talk to me. I can hear them. Now I don't hear my own voice like I did on level 1. I hear their voices.
It's true. It's different. It's a little different.
Which is so cool.
Yeah.
But now I'm feeling what the other person is feeling. If they are feeling like sad or angry, I felt it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like, that goes to show how you never know. You know, you might have experienced level 1 in some way, and you move to level 2, and it's so different. And there's no way to really predict that until you actually get your hands in and start practicing and start doing readings for people. And that was kind of like what I always talk about on like some of my videos and stuff on YouTube. It's like, my experience was I was trying to resist it, and I was trying to expect it to look a certain way. And the more I did that, the more I moved away from being able to channel clearly. But if you can honor however that's coming through and just be like, okay, this is what it is for now. And your channel can change, right? It's not going to stay the same forever. Yeah. And you're going to develop it, and you're going to modify stuff. So that's cool to hear that you are experiencing that way, because that really resonates with me, of course.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Julio to create Wicca classes and stuff, because I would sign up for that.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I have to see the subjects and all that. I mean, I got a lot of information. I started on my Wicca path when I was 16, and I'm going to be 39 in a few days. So
wow.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Julio and I used to get together and watch Charmed.
Oh, yeah.
I used to love Charmed.
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. And I have the triquetra, the symbol from Charmed. I have it tattooed on my neck, on the back of my neck.
I knew you had something in your neck, but I didn't remember that it was that.
Yeah. Not only because of the show, because I know the meaning of the symbol and how important it is for protection and stuff, but on the life cycles, but because also Charmed.
You see, I didn't know that. You need to teach that. I want to know all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
One day, maybe we can talk about that on the podcast.
I've been nagging him about this. I've been trying to get him to create a class.
Oh no. Get to work. Well, now you're busy with the Akashic Records, so who knows?
Now, I mean, I have my other job, my regular job as a freelancer, but now with the records, I'm like, I barely rest during the day. And that's really cool. I feel like this is what I came to do.
Yeah.
I'm embracing it, and I'm owning it, and I'm going forward. No matter how long it takes, how many hours. I'm loving it.
That's awesome.
Oh, that makes me so happy. And it's I think it was the same way for me too. When I did level 2, it was like, I was just having my 9 to 5. And then every evening I'd book in, my practice readings. And then after that, my practice readings were done. I was starting to charge my readings, and I would do them after work or on weekends. So I was always busy. Like it's this feeling of like purpose that you have with it. It's not like an obligation. You choose it.
Definitely.
So this is why it's really important to listen to yourself and know if you want to do level 2, because I think the more you feel called to it, and there's a message or like a download that you get to do it, probably the more likely that you're going to continue doing it in the long run, right?
Yeah, definitely. In my case, what happens was when I did this second level of Reiki, I started channeling, and I wasn't myself the one who was speaking. I was only the channel. I never remembered what I was saying. But I believe that from that moment on, everything led me to this, to go to the Akashic Records, learn the level 1, and it had to be you, of course. And now level 2, and I intend to keep on to level 3. And
Yeah. I think you get a lot of signals, because all the times that I was like, oh, we're about to do our level 1, or we're going to redo our level 1, or we're going to be finishing level 2 around this time. It's always around the time that you seem to really need something, like you really need it.
Yeah, definitely. When the first time that I did level 1, it was about a week after my cat died.
Yeah.
Right.
So I really needed that. And thanks to that, I got a message from her that she was okay. She wanted me to be happy, to move on. And from that moment on, I fell in love with the Akashic Records.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that too. Wow. Awesome. Okay, we don't want to take too much of your time. We just wanted you to come on really and talk about your experience and how it's going, because I know there's a lot of people that are probably like wondering what it's like. And we can talk about it from our experience, but you're brand new to this. So just you talking about this, I think could help somebody understand kind of how it feels and how it works. And the fact that you just finished the course and you're already doing, and that was the case for me. I had a list of people that I just couldn't get enough. I didn't have enough time to do all the readings that I need to do.
Yeah,
so it's really interesting.
Yeah, that's what's happening to me. I'm doing one reading every day.
Yeah.
From Sunday to Sunday.
When I was practicing, most of my readings were contacts that came from Julio. Do you remember that? Most of my practice readings were people, your friends or friends of friends or family and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, keep us posted on how it goes, of course. And definitely. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a follow-up in a month or two with you, put you into one of the episodes again. And you can just tune us into like how things are going and how the readings are going, how more confident you feel after X amount of readings and how that transition was for you. I think it'd be interesting for people to hear that. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll be glad to do it.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Julio.
Thanks, Julio.
Thank you, guys. Love you.
Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I hope that it helps people understand maybe what a student might go through during the class or after the class. So that's the whole reason, just to kind of clarify things, or, make you guys feel like I'm ready, or maybe I'm not ready yet, whichever it is. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And don't forget to email us if you think this is for you.
Yeah, definitely reach out to us if you are interested in participating in the level 2, the Akashic Records level 2 course. We definitely have limited spots, and we already have, at this point of us recording, which is a day in, I think we have almost all the spots filled. So definitely reach out. We can see how we fit you guys in, but the more you guys let us know you want the course, the more dates we'll add. So this all really is on demand. So the more you guys request it, the more we'll be able to put it out. And like we said, we're open to putting out a September date if that's something that really works with some of your schedules. Since we're only doing weekends, of course, I know everybody's weekends could be super busy too, even though it is the weekend, but definitely just email us at soultribeacademy@gmail.com and we can chat through anything. I'll also include in the show notes the link to the newsletter that we sent out to everybody, which has all the information about the course, the price, basically the dates, all of that. So you'll be able to see that on the show notes. I'll also include our newsletter form, so you guys can sign up to our newsletter and make sure you're getting like the latest up-to-date information of everything we're doing and any promotions and stuff. We actually put out a newsletter, and we talked about some promotions that we have going at the moment, some really cool packages and promos. So I'll link that on the show notes as well. And also our podcast assistant stuff and all that. So yeah, remember we have our level 1 still on Udemy. We have it on Thinkific, and we are considering doing a Zoom level 1 course this year. So I'm going to actually create a little sign up form, kind of like we did with level 2. So if it's something that you guys are interested in, make sure you sign up on that form. The link will be below, like I mentioned, and we'll figure out a date if there's enough people signed up. Otherwise, you have our online course that you can do. So yeah, we're excited. We hope you guys come on this journey with us. We know this is going to be so life-changing for so many of you, and it's going to be really a before and after. Totally. So yeah, we will see you guys next week with a new episode. And yeah, talk to you guys soon, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.